On behalf of all photographers, we are extremely sorry. How about Focus and Blurr? I believe everybody can be a photographer.
A wise man once said, in life, you focus. And when there are obstacles, you keep focusing, even though it looks blurrish. Whenever it's blurrish, keep to your target and focus. This simple story best describes who my guest is for tonight. And I'm sure you're wondering where we are. Now, let me tell you this. We are in the premises of Mark Banksy. Mark Banksy is into perfumery and art sculpture, like what you see right here. And so he's sponsoring this episode of the Wedding Podcast right here. But hey, my guest for tonight's episode is none other than the legendary, the Oga at the top, the P and the K, as the team lead, CEO, and the legendary PK from Focus and Blurr. Chairman, good to have you.
It's nice having me.
Finally.
Yeah, finally, we made it happen.
The people, they play hide and seek plus you, but it wasn't me, it was them. It wasn't me. Yeah. Then they have lots to do and lots on their plate. Business is booming for them. So
Definitely.
we have to hold them accountable for
Very
this.
proud of them too, I must say. I mean,
Yeah.
these gentlemen have come far. I remember when they popped up in the screen,
Yeah.
and in the scene as well.
Okay.
And I mean, they had their own thing going on, and I think they've matured. You know,
Yeah.
They were once a seed, but now I've seen they are sprouting, and now they are turning to tree, and tree has branches.
Yeah.
So I've seen the branches, and
Yeah.
I'm loving the development and the growth. That's a good one.
Charlie, these are fine words coming from you. And now that they are branches, they are going to bloom.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll blow out there. Yeah. But then for those of you who don't know who this gentleman is, I'm keeping emphasizing, like I have to keep to my words. He's the team lead and CEO of Focus and Blurr. Chairman, I think I got to know about Focus and Blurr is it 8 years ago thereabout? And then I saw there was this wedding I can't make hold of, but then it just popped up. The pictures were sharp, and like the comments under that particular picture, it wasn't like what we have today where reels and things are blowing people here and there. Then social media wasn't there like that. People, I'm sure, want to know how it started. How did it start?
How did photography start for me? I mean, I think for me, I've always been that young creative guy who always questioned what is on the screens. So I'll start my story with having to be selected by a fine gentleman called Nana Kwame Minimsa, CEO of Concept One. Now, I don't know about you, but if you don't know Concept One, then I don't know what you know in the creative industry. But Concept One was one of the finest office space for young gentlemen. At a point, we called ourselves the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, even though we're in like high school.
Okay.
And Nakwame brewed all these powerful boys who could do graphic design, could do radio. So the likes of Brownberry of YFM is coming from Concept One. I am coming from Concept One, Shabazz. So getting that opportunity to actually be a creative, learn how to be a creative right from my from high school, gave me the chance to see more of what the camera or what creativity or graphic design brought. And in my quest of developing my design skills, I had to enter into photography because as a graphic designer, you know that you'd want to, capture your own images and use them for your artwork. Yeah. And I met this gentleman. So my story has been full of people actually supporting me as a creative and being there for me. So Salasi Achichogui, which is the CEO of Pixel Ray, father of photography for a particular generation, I must say, held my hands, Make sure I was able to come to his studios on Sundays with a couple of people. You go and meet the likes of 10,000 Words, all the big stars, Hollison, and yes, you would learn a thing or two. So I started from there, holding lights, asking questions. I mean, they had and back in the days, I don't know if it's still present. Photography has a language, and they spoke
Yeah.
it very fluent
Yeah.
back in the days. And so when you're young and you're sitting there, you're like, what are they talking about,
Yeah.
But I mean, it takes time. And
Yeah.
yeah, these people held me down. And this is how the whole photography started.
Started for you. With the names you've mentioned so far, with the Achichogbe's, they are, they're a family of creatives. I think I know a few of them. Very, very creative people. How did you feel when you started working with these people? Did you feel you were underrated? Did you feel like, I'm not there, so let me do all the dirty works until I get there?
I think seven is a it's a unique tool
Yeah.
for anybody who wants to achieve something great.
True.
I don't think you can be a king if you don't know how to serve.
That's true.
And that's what I believe.
That's
And
true.
so getting the opportunity to even be in their presence
Okay.
was for me humbling.
Yeah.
It was a blessing to me to be called, oh, where you did?
Yeah.
Charlie, we did meet for Al Selassie house. It was something that you're like, oh, okay, they would love for me to come. I didn't care about whether I could shoot or not. Honestly, I'd never held my first camera. I've never had a professional camera.
Wow.
So yes, hold this light, and you want to even hold the light
Wow.
because you want to be part of what has been created. It's different.
Yeah.
You want to be part, and also be seen as okay. You bend the light. So I have a couple of pictures that I was like, I used to be a macho man. I was like this macho boy holding light for Selassie, and bro.
Okay.
If I was asked to do it again, I would do
You'll
it
do it
over
again.
and over and over and over again.
Wow.
I would serve over again. I think with me, I've served throughout. I've served the likes of One Photos, Kwame. I've shot alongside Steve De Duce. I've shot alongside in blessed memory Bob Pixel. And so I have actually served, and I think this is why I am here. Servitude. Seven is why I'm here. I'm telling you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we'd like to say RIP to Bob Pixel, one of the faces behind the success when it comes to photography,
Definitely.
these days. I asked that question because these days you find it hard for younger people to serve. Everyone wants to blow out of nothing. They don't want to serve. And so these days, when you go out there at events, almost everyone is a photographer. What makes someone a photographer?
What makes you a photographer?
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody can be a photographer. Okay. Photography in itself is the recording of light, if you want to be a bit technical, and using a photo sensor to capture that light. And at the end of the day, saving it or printing it out.
Right.
Now, when you give a little child a point-to-shoot camera, which is our very old school camera, I think they can do a decent job by making sure they are in the right frame to capture. So I believe everybody can be a photographer.
Okay.
However, I don't think everybody can know the business of photography. That is where the dynamics are, because you have to be a bit equipped and knowledgeable of certain things. Outside photography, for instance, servitude.
Yeah.
It's in the form of business of photography.
That's
because
true.
if you know where you want to be tomorrow or where you want to be tomorrow, you know how to work the ropes.
Yeah.
And so there's so many things that you need to factor than just holding the camera and photographing or sitting behind the computer and editing all those smooth skins, all those fine skins, and saying that, oh, I'm a photographer. It goes way beyond.
Way beyond.
Yeah, so basically.
You've held the light for people to work. You've held their backs. You've played that role. When did you buy your first camera?
When did I buy my first camera? I mean, first off, I bought my first camera on high purchase. I think the camera was about 800 Ghana cedis.
That'd be blocked 10 times.
Yes, and this is 2013. 2013 or 2012, one of it. I bought it from Selassie at Ichogbe. So he had a second camera that he wasn't really using, and I had just come into the scene and trying to get a camera. So he said, hey, I'll give you this camera. You pay 800 Ghana cedis. I was like, bro, I can't pay 800 Ghana cedis because I was doing national service by then.
Okay.
I was like, so that's like 2012. So you know what? When they pay me national service, I'll give you some because I was not even a professional in the first place to say that I can even work and pay. There was no work and pay for me. I was buying it to uphold and defend, the profession as an artist.
Yeah.
So I managed to take it, pay small, 800 Ghana cedis. Yeah.
Little drops of water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Do you remember the brand of the camera?
Oh, yes. Very much so. I mean, and when I mention this name, everybody in that time will know, everybody will say, yes, that is it. I'm sure some people are even screaming it by now. And that is a Canon T3i. You can never get it wrong. Like, that was the best camera for our generation.
Wow.
An entry-level newbie, trying to get something. A T3i Canon.
Wow. Now it's a vintage.
It's a vintage.
Do you still have it?
I still own my camera. Yes, sitting on my shelf. Wow. Yeah, 100%. Very important to me. Very important, yeah.
And then when you entered into photography, I know there are different aspects. Maybe the wedding, the documentaries, the studio shoots. Did you have a particular niche you wanted to carve for yourself or wanted you to be known for?
Well, first off, I didn't know anything about wanting to be known for.
Okay.
You see, I didn't think that photography made anybody famous.
Wow.
I didn't know about being famous.
Yeah, well, you have a point. Yeah,
we're here to be artists and work and make something good for ourselves. Plus, we had computer university. I wanted to be photographers. There was a stigma with trying to be a photographer when you just computer university. What do you mean?
That's true.
It's not easy in our generation. I don't know about now. That it wasn't that easy. So, yes, there was definitely that time. So me coming into photography, like I said, I wanted to photograph for my graphic design that I was doing. So basically, I wanted to be a commercial photographer. Wow. I didn't see myself as anything else but that. But then again, you see, those who actually teach you, groom you, and whoever you go and say that, please, I want to learn from you, they are going to teach you everything that you need to know. So you ought to be careful. And this is like a very important message. You ought to be careful the person you go to learn what? From. It's very important. As fresh and new as you are, whatever they pour in you, if you are not careful, will stain your heart. That's true. You understand? And you question. For me, I was taught by the greats. I was taught by Selassie, who would teach you the technicalities of light, studio work. You ask any question and you answer. So till date, and everybody knows, like, you DM me, I'm answering because I got the opportunity to be answered every time I ask a question. Wow. Yes.
Because from you had gotten the opportunity to learn from someone. You never went to NAFTI or any audiovisual school.
Not at all.
Not at all. But here you are today making it big. How did the name come about upon all the names out there? Why focusing and blurring?
I can never give myself a credit for that name, Focus and Blurr.
Okay.
See, I'm people's person, literally. Right. And for me, if I have a problem or if I have something I need to execute, I don't put it in my head and kill myself. Right. I talk to a lot of people. I open up. I have people I open up to.
Great.
So at that time, 2014-ish, because that was when we were coming in, I think 2015, 2016, we're trying to get the name. I asked so many people, I asked so many friends, and I had spoken to Henry Gordon, which was my mate at agency, and I used to be doing 9 to 5, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So Henry Gordon was my mate in agency. I asked my friend Henry, who's in the UK right now. I mean, and a lot of people. So we ended up one time with the whole Focus name, and we didn't. You see, as easy as it may sound now, it wasn't as easy as it is. Like getting to even think that let's do the reverse or the opposite of Focus and say Blurr didn't come easy, but just some way, somehow. To now, I can't tell who brought it, but one of my people who I knew would come out for me came up with and said that, how about Focus and Blurr? One of them, one of my friends. So it actually came with my friends. We had like a whole brainstorming. up and down. And yeah, and it's been a blessing. I remember, I don't say this much,
Yeah.
but I remember the time I had this name. I shared it with a friend,
Okay.
a very good friend who was a creative. And when I mentioned the name, he was like, Focus and Blurr, how? It's too long. What name is that?
Wow.
You should have the simple name like, and he mentioned some names, which was aligned to his style. And nearly Charlie broke me, I nearly broke, but I kept moving. As a creative and working with agency for branding and all that, I understood branding at a point. So I believe that work is supposed to be done, not the name. Okay. Not the logo, nothing. It's the work. The work creates the brand. Okay. So I knew even if it is a long name and I put myself out there and people see the effort, they would make my house a house. My name a household.
It's true. What you're saying is true, because as far back as 2012, I was working with a production house, Evolution International. So the artistry thing, nature, attention to details, everything you said was out there, but today is no longer here. You have a number of people you work with. Did you pick them, or you had to school them before picking them out?
Okay. I mean, everybody that works with me now have gone through the mill. Like they've gone through the process. They've been hand selected as well. A lot of people know how exclusive I am when it comes to a lot of things. So I would pay rapt attention to certain details about people before I let them enter my space. And the details sometimes has nothing to do with being a creative or being artistic. I think I need 360 every. I think I need 360 everything else to run a very healthy business. So most of my people grew on the job, grew with the brand, understood the cause. And that's why I feel my people are a bit different, because they didn't come and say that they are creative, so let's work. They're like, oh, I don't really know much, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to learn the Focus and Blurr way. You understand? So they are actually really soaked into the brand, understand the brand, the true values, the core values, and everything.
I think that's the way to go. So I come up empty, and I'm coming to learn from you. Let's draw this distinction. Are you solely a wedding photographer, or you cut across?
Okay. So start learning photography. I started learning. I was studio portrait photographer. I learned a bit about my the one that I really wanted, which was the commercial photography and arts and everything. Now, even with the wedding photography, I wasn't getting to learn it well, because the person that was teaching me photography taught me a lot about studio work. And he will spend time with his other friends to go and shoot weddings, which I hardly went. Because, it's always a crowd when a lot of photographers, unlike now. Back then, so back then it was a bit of a crowd when a lot of people are in an event. So weddings came to me when I started getting the opportunity to photograph couple in the studio and then shoot their wedding. And everybody knows the kind of person I am. I am the vibe song, party, the life of the party. Well, used to be. Vibe song, the life of the party, energy. And it resonated with the wedding space. When I was shooting for the likes of One Photos, I remember I was always giving the bride side to shoot. And Kwame would tell me that, see, if it's not you, I don't think any girl will smile like this to get
the
a picture.
ladies' man.
So basically, because I was always like the upbeat tempo, let's get it, it's showtime, vibe with me, like always like that. So weddings became easy. I was like, oh, this is really my lifestyle, And if you think that it is supposed to be, if I'm going to be paid for it, then why not? So that's how wedding came to stay with me. Because yes, it was always fun and
the vibe,
upbeat tempo, fun energy for me all the time.
Tentatively, how old is Focus and Blurr?
So Photography started for me in 2012.
2012.
Yes.
Okay.
2013, I probably had owned my first camera. Probably got my first wedding in 2013, 2014.
Wow.
Focus and Blurr itself now was registered because I had different names before Focus and Blurr.
Wow.
Privacy photography, all that. Yes. And then Focus and Blurr was registered in 2016. Wow. Okay. Quit my 9 to 5 in 2016 and did this full time. So photography in itself over a decade for me. And probably Focus and Blurr is like 8-9 years.
Wow. Charlie, you need to be celebrated, man. We're going to come to that. Folks, we're still here with PK, team lead and CEO of Focus and Blurr. We're going to restrict the conversation to the wedding space, which I think has lots of questions out there. PK, let's talk about weddings.
Right.
What's the most difficult part of a wedding production that you think from your side is very difficult?
Well, production standpoint, I'll always say the difficult part is when a photographer, and this is me speaking for all photographers, is when photographers are not put in the whole planning stage or process. So typically, usually coordinator or planner will have time sitting with a couple, draw a whole plan for the event, and then they come to, maybe the client or the planner comes to the photographer and say, hey, I want to book you for my wedding. And then we give you a rate card, which is like the default. Yeah. And then on the rate card, there's something like 6 hours for traditional wedding, 8 hours for white wedding, which is also by default. Yeah. But when they take that and then they go sit down with the planner, they can draw up a project, a whole traditional wedding for like, say, 8 hours.
That's true.
And then draw up a whole white wedding for like, say, 10 hours. 10 hours. And they have something they do like, white wedding, where they say after the 8 hour, everything is after party. And it's a bit confusing. Are we to shoot or not? You know?
That's
so
true.
I mean, that is a bit challenging there. Then you also don't want to be seen as
being a difficult,
so I feel like that is where we always have a problem a little bit, or some part of the difficulty in it. I think there's supposed to be a proper prepping for photographers, either with the coordinators or the planners or the couple themselves.
That's true.
At Focus and Blurr, we do consultation sessions where we still have like an hour or 2 hours consultation for free with a couple, and we discuss everything you've already discussed with your planner. So we also are informed. We also think that we can do well with coordinating certain things, because we understand what time, what should happen. So if we are all in tune, before we come to get the running orders 2 days to your event, we would know what's really going on. Then nobody is left in limbo. Yes. So basically that's it. But apart from that, I think Ghana has some of the finest coordinators and planners, finest couple itself. Vendors are really extraordinary. It's just a bit of leaving us asking questions. What time are we supposed to come in? What time is the ceremony starting? And sometimes the ceremony is starting at 10 o'clock. And the photographer get there at 7 or 6. And we are like, but did you know that your event is only 6 hours? If I come at 6 and your event starts at, say, 10, that's already 4 hours gone, and we've not started. We have 2 hours. Wow. And then for a photographer to tell you this, then it's like, he's not thinking about you or what, or they have to go back to the drawing board and go like, okay, so what time will you come? And it makes it look like, what do you mean by what time will I come? I think you should have known that. It's 6 hours for photography too. So like adjust things around that so we don't look bad. I think it's only that part. And I mean, I stand to be corrected if that is not it, but for me, I think that's really
I think you've really made a point, because honestly, most of the vendors at weddings are left out for meetings. And sometimes couple get to only talk to planner or coordinator, and then the rest, I'm sorry to say, are bogus to talk to. And so on a day of event, you find blogger crashing with a photographer, you find MC having a problem with the DJ, the telepathy is not there, and so the event becomes difficult. And in the end, when they party, people think the event was a success, which it wasn't. The detailing. Now, let me come to wedding prepping. You spoke about consultation, prepping, and all that. I've heard brides talk about how exhausting it is to even get ready for the event. To do the photographers, they will take pictures, they will waste our time. The corset is tightened. Why are they wasting our time? Are those detailing difficult or maybe important, or you can let go and then do something else?
So there is a structure how Ghana weddings are being. Why are you laughing?
Ghana weddings.
Yeah, but
Charlie,
I think it's just Ghana. I think it's Ghana or Africa weddings. I mean, I don't know other
Yeah,
traditions.
that's true. So we'll limit
This is
it to
where I know,
Ghana.
this is where I know.
Yeah.
I think there's been a structure how things are done here in Ghana. And if not, we are not even taking out, we are adding more.
Yeah.
I wish someday we'll take out.
Charlie.
But we are not taking out, we are adding more. Anyway,
Yeah.
I digress. So I'm saying
That's fine. Yeah.
There's a structure at which we have our weddings. For me, dress up has become a ceremony, which is beautiful. I think it's the moment where bride wants to have a moment with her girls, drink some champagne, and give out some pleasantries. It's beautiful. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, I think that a bride should not be stressed as much for her day if it is actually in the books that we are doing dress up from this time to this time.
Right.
And then we take pictures from this time to this time. Okay? Meaning that if every time is supposed to work, everybody is supposed to play their part well. I don't understand. And also for a photographer, I don't understand why you tell me to come at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then I have to sit out for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then when it's time for me to shoot, you give me 10 minutes. Like, how does it work?
I think I'm even guilty. There have been times that I've had banters with photographs. I'm like, Charlie, you people had the whole time. Charlie, do this 5 minutes and let's go.
You see, unfortunately, we never did. We were sitting down for 2 hours, 3 hours, doing nothing. Literally nothing. And you know the sad thing? You see, doing nothing is not a problem.
Yeah.
Do you know what doing nothing does? Like the ripple effect. And shout out to Kwekuzi ripple effect. You see what I did there?
Yeah, bass.
So the ripple effect is you get to be very bored.
Yeah.
Your creative spirit even leaves you.
That's true.
So when you are entering the space, you're like, yo, it's showtime. Pick a camera. Yo, do this. Hey, let's do this. Let's put this here.
Yeah.
It's nice. Now you are pushing the tempo. But when you go and you sit down, I have sat down for 4 hours before.
Fatigue sets in.
Yo, bro, it's not pleasing. Yet still, they want to see every good thing in the end result.
Wow. You speaking about getting to the venue 7 and starting late. Is it important for clients or maybe vendors who are caterers to feed photographers at events?
Feeding. Well, you see, the thing about feeding is I think it's quite sensitive to some people.
Yeah.
Some vendors.
Yeah.
So feeding may be very sensitive to a food vendor because for him, when the couple came to sit down, they said, we want to feed 200 heads, 300 heads, and did a lot of cutting down on prices and everything. So for her or for him, coming to stand there, he's trying to calculate to make sure that he doesn't go home with a bad name or reputation that the food didn't satisfy everyone.
That's true.
Okay, so he's very sensitive about food, or she is very sensitive about food. The same to maybe a planner, or a coordinator, making sure that guests eat and they are satisfied. So they are very sensitive about the happiness or the satisfaction of the guest and the couple. Fair enough. Now it comes to vendors and say photographer. You see, a photographer has to know that he needs, like everybody needs to know that photographers need food to run, which is
true.
food.
That's true.
So I would say, why is there not a policy in your contract saying that if I'm working for you for 8 hours, if it's 4 hours, I need to have a break to eat. Or 5 hours, I need to take a break to eat. And my break is 30-45 minutes. Okay. Now, if you had done consultation with your client,
you would have known all of these.
You would have had this conversation, and it's around the consultation that they go like, oh, we'll have to let you eat. You know what? We'll call the planner and then make sure that they add you to. So if they're doing 200 heads, they'll do 220, 203. Because photographer, his assistant, and maybe his other assistant. Do you understand? But consultation doesn't play. Clients don't know this as much. So it becomes some type of way. I think it has to be spelt right, right from source, which is the client.
Yeah.
Photographers also need to have it in their contract that after 4 hours of working, we have a break. Now it's two things. And I have said it before. Either I go out to go and find some Chinese to eat, or you find something for us
you to
in there. And trust me, no client, I've not seen any client who doesn't want their photographer to eat.
Wow. Honestly, I think we are speaking a lot of sense because you having some of these in your contract, meeting the photographer before the D-Day helps a lot. You spoke about timing. Let's say you've been booked for 8 hours and then it elapses. Do you give a grace period or because it's 8 hours, you're done?
Right. I think so. You see, and this is where the work that we do is like art. There are so many things that happen during a wedding day.
Yeah.
There are so many things that will affect the event, and so we try as much as possible to consider giving extra hours just because, oh man, it rained.
Yeah.
And you cannot do anything about the rain, even though you are still there. Oh,
Yeah.
the bride zipper messed up, and
That's true.
they had to spend so much time. I mean, so many things could have. Even sometimes decor, maybe it didn't finish on time, and you understand that there was so much work to be done. So you give all that extra hours. But in the case where you see that this is very deliberate, you got there, bride has been sleeping on her bed for 2 hours, making it feel like, Charlie, nothing's like it's not really a big deal. But guess what? It's your party, but it's my work.
That's true.
Like I could have been in the house chilling.
That's true.
I'm here. So
That's true.
I mean, so you have to for us. I think we just watch the instance and we take action according to. Most often we give some extra hours.
Looking at the growth of photography from maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago to where we are now, are you impressed with what you see out there?
Am I impressed? I mean, first off, I must say big shout out to all photographers who are doing it. Big shout outs to the likes of Gemma, shout outs to Gog, shout outs to Charlie, Steve Morris, shout outs to Pixar, Rakesh, Charlie, shout outs to everybody doing it large because photography has come to hold some value. And you see, one person cannot give a value when there's a collective, then our parents come to see that, oh, it's really a very important thing. I think that's what we used to fight or battle with that. We can be photographers and still be proper. We can be photographers and still marry. We can still be photographers and build our houses, buy our cars. I think the challenge for most young photographers who really want to make it, and they question it a lot, that can I really succeed here? Can I really make it here? And I'm here to tell you it's really possible. Okay? It's possible that you can succeed because the old folks did it. Steve Dedusei did it so well at a point, now own his own graphic design company. They Randy Kwaku, Mr. Kofi Akwa. These are journalists. These are people that have done it and let us know that you can be a photographer and you can still make something valuable out of your life. So please stop entering the industry inside and let me shoot some small fire. I mean,
fire!
I don't fire small.
Fire.
I mean, stop. I mean, we love you to enter. Enter because we need a lot of you so that the value will hold. But don't think that, oh, I'm just here for a minute. I'm here to just shoot some people and meet some people. You know what I mean? So let me just price it anyhow. There are people who are struggling to build the value and the reputation of photography. Don't destroy the value and reputation. It's so much hard work.
That's true.
In recent times, I think I've told people that you cannot scale up as a photographer anymore. You cannot be growing. I mean, recently doing an exhibition in Germany, and I did one in. You cannot be growing, traveling all over the world, growing your brand, and still have to have a particular price just because others are not pulling and young people are good, very good, and still stuck in a particular price point.
Yeah.
I think it's very important that these young people see all these good guys making it, come to understand the process, the business of photography.
That's
Grow
true.
it as a business. Don't just leisure it and then just be
Yeah.
pricing anyhow and destroying those who are trying to build a business out of it. It's a bit sad when it comes to that part. So,
Charlie, stop pricing anyhow. Stop pricing anyhow. I don't want to mention names.
I mean, you cannot stop them from pricing anyhow. You can only
Yeah.
advise them. You see, there's no institution governing us at a point where it's like we all pass through this point. We have this particular certification or whatever. So everybody has a particular stage of pricing. No, everybody feels free to price however they like. So we
Yeah.
understand. But the decency, the value for the craft and the
That's
art
true.
should tell you that, bro, you have moved from a T3i to a 6D to a 5D Mark II, Mark III, Mark IV to a R5 Mark II, whatever, for you to know that, Charlie, your value must also go up.
Yeah.
You are taking awards. You should know your value must go up.
Yeah.
You want to shoot in Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, the States, and South Africa. And you are trying to do all that literally. Literally, you are doing all that. So why can't you put some value on yourself? And if your boss is doing all that, know that that thing your boss is doing is actually value on the craft that also rubs off you.
That's true.
People get it wrong.
That's
Whoever
true.
you are working with, whichever aura he's carrying, rubs off you. You should be very proud and know that very soon I should be hitting these marks, asking questions how to hit these marks.
That's
Maybe
true.
it shouldn't. Maybe it's not a wedding, but hit it from somewhere. Hit it
Yeah.
from a portrait. Hit it from studio time. Hit it from pre-wedding. I mean, put some value on yourself and see how people accept you, so that your aim is to grow value for yourself. That's the whole
Wow.
point.
The aim is to grow value for yourself. Have you had should I say opportunity, or maybe I should use another word? Have you shot a wedding where the client wasn't happy and you were asked to refund before?
Well, I wouldn't want to say no. I wouldn't want to say yes, because it's
Okay.
been a really long time. We've
Wow.
met so many people.
People.
To be honest, I think I've had some of the best clients in the world.
Okay.
So beautiful people, like they love the brand so well, and they appreciate everything that we give out. And so we may have had instances where we need to refund some money. Maybe the wedding didn't come up. Didn't come on. To refund because the pictures were very nice. Maybe, I don't know.
You don't know.
Not that I
You
know of or
remember.
remember, but yeah, it can happen.
But
yeah.
it can happen, right?
Oh yeah.
I hear you expensive.
I have value. I
How
don't know about-
expensive is Focus and Blurr?
It's expensive, relative or subjective.
It's relative. It's relative. Flat.
No. I think to be expensive is very relative. It's very, very subjective to the person that I'm giving the expense to. It's what you think is expensive and what you think is not. You may lose money for even not calling some particular amounts because they were expecting you to. You understand? And also, to be honest with you, if you don't, I don't think a lot of people know my rate, but I have the most decent rates out there right now.
Decent.
Yeah, very, very decent, very calm, very, very sweet. And my clients know it. I mean, so those who want to be my next clients, trust me, we have the most beautiful clients. We have a lot of freebies we give in. And Charlie, come and join there. So we have something we are doing now called the Awula Bride, where all Focus and Blurr brides are Awula. And Awula is like a very poised, gentle,
Awula in the gown.
Awula in the gown,
Okay,
right.
so a lady.
A lady,
Yeah.
a very poised lady.
Yeah.
So come join the Awula gang, the lady bride of Focus and Blurr. And when your wife is a lady, then definitely you become a gentleman. So please bring your job to us. We like the Awula.
This next question is very important, right? Should photographers post their price list or packages online?
Should they post?
Yeah.
I think it's your business orientation or your strategy or whatever. This is how you feel.
Yeah.
You should. if you that's how you feel.
That's how you
I mean, some people have another that school of thought. I'm open
Yeah.
to hear what people think about this particular subject.
Great.
For me, I don't post my pay. I think I've even been I was doing invoicing for almost 2 years. I've been doing invoices for almost 2 years.
Good.
I feel like not every wedding is the same. See, the way I see events is a bit different for me.
Yeah.
I think that when you approach me, there's some sort of excitement to approach me. So
Great.
let's discuss your excitement. Weddings are celebrations. So if you are coming to me, we discuss it. I don't think it should be a default. I don't think you see yesterday's wedding of someone to say this is the same thing I want.
Yeah.
No, your families are not the same. Your
That's
style
true.
is not the same.
That's
so
true.
let's discuss your style. And your style might land you with a very easy amount or
true.
a very huge amount. And you will understand it because we are doing consultation.
That's
You
very
understand?
true.
So we
Very
discuss
true.
through what exactly you want to see, what you want to have, where you want to do this, how you want to do this, And when we go through all that process, you can come and have like a very cool price. And your
Yeah.
sister can come, have a conversation with us, have a
Right.
very hefty price based on your taste and preference.
Wow.
And I think for me, that's how weddings are supposed to be
be.
run. Okay.
Wow.
Yes. So I don't know about posting
For
on,
other
on
people.
social, but
I'm going to ask a question that will benefit most of the young or maybe old couples out there. Why does the editing takes a lot of time? I know there's lots of polishing here and there, but I've met brides who will tell you, Charlie, 5 months, my pictures are not ready. They say I should ask you why.
Oh, I mean, guys, those who have never had their pictures, on behalf of all photographers, we are extremely sorry. Very, 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 very sorry that you had to go through that. So let me tell you, there are photographers that are not commercial based. There are
Okay.
photographers that are very particular. Me, for ones like this, I'm a very particular person when it comes to the kind of picture I post out there.
Okay.
I can question myself on a picture for like 6 hours,
Wow.
asking whether it's right, even when I'm done.
Wow.
Okay, for me to move on to the next is me satisfying my conscience that this is what I want to put out there.
Wow.
There's also something about creative energy, creative juice.
Okay.
Sometimes you just don't want to open that work because the energy you want for that work, it hasn't come. We are creatives, you understand? So for me, if you want to put time on delivering of art, think about it like that. In as much as it's commercial, it's a bit some way. And if you're not careful as a client, you will just get a commercial-based kind of work than getting a solid creatives full energy or drive.
Yeah.
So sometimes it has to take long because the creative juice finish.
Wow.
Okay, and the photographer needs to find some sort of energy to pull out to give you the best that you really want from him as a brand. Yes, that's why sometimes these things happen, but I don't think there's any reason else. So forgive us for being creatives. We know you have paid, but why paid you? we we know you are paid, but there's no amount of money that can actually pay for an art.
Wow.
No, arts are priceless. You just pay a token on everything that you want the person to do. So we'll make sure, and that's why we also write. I mean, so somebody say, but you write that 6 weeks to this, you give us our pictures.
Yeah.
Because you want to hear that.
Yeah.
So we'll give you that. Okay. Yeah. And we will try and deliver around that time. Not to say I do that, because my system is totally different. It's totally different. I have a way of giving your pictures in just a week. My client can testify to that. 3 weeks. Back in the days, it was terrible. I mean, when you're starting this business and all the young people that are going through this, trust me, it's normal. We've all been there, done that. We've disappointed clients. Clients have not been happy with us. They say the editing is not nice, Then you have to go back and sit down and work. Yes, it's there. But when you're growing, you understand and make changes to some of these errors and try to deliver on time, okay? Delivering on time is great asset. to a photographer.
Yeah.
That I can tell you for a fact.
Yeah.
But deliver on time, but deliver quality work on time. So you work on your quality and your speed.
Wow.
Yeah.
You work on your quality
And your speed.
I'm going to box you. In the case of maybe a natural disaster where you lose files or the imagery corrupts, do you do a refund? That's from Focus and Blurr. Let's say it happens to you. What would you do? And has it happened to you before?
You know the funny thing about having to lose files? The event that you are shooting, you shot it, you were paid like 6 months ago.
Okay.
That money finished.
Before the event date go come, the money finish.
Don't cry, don't beg. It's all over. But I mean to say that it's quite a difficult feat when people get to experience or get to misplace files or they lose it out of machines crashing and everything.
Yeah.
I think there's supposed to be something in your contract that also states what you do when things like this happen.
Yeah.
Photographers need to have a very good binding contract that will protect them. Honestly, it's so important. It's not, we cannot be overemphasized. I think you have to find all these problems that are bound to happen to us and then find a way of going around it. Focus and Blurr would definitely give you two options.
Okay.
One option is, depending on which of the files that is missing, you are possibly going to get a free photo shoot with your spouse.
Okay.
Even with your makeup and everything paid by us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Solid.
Makeup, your hair, styling, everything paid by us. Wow. And we'll do a photo shoot for you. Maybe exclusives for you to get some exclusive work pictures, nonetheless. Yeah. And other than that, if it's like an extreme case of the entire event and whatnot, and you think as a client, getting the money back can satisfy the whole day, we'll give it to you.
You give it to you.
Definitely it doesn't.
Charlie.
But
Charlie, because it's it's very difficult. Yeah. Having to refund after everything. Now let's rewind everything. Going back into time, what's that one thing you'd love to change if we take everything backwards to 2012?
What one thing that I would change?
Yeah.
I would love to change if I should go back in time. Oh man, I had the best time of my life being a photographer. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Every moment made me who I am today. Every moment. Man, to even think about it, it's bliss, man.
Wow.
And I would not trade it for nothing. All the times with all the greats that have actually stood by their side. Good Kelly, God. Big ups to Good Kelly. Big ups to White Chalk the Planner. These people held my hands, pushed me to places, and I know as like very young.
Yeah.
After I'd quit my 9 to 5. And so every moment, every decision was key. And as a man, when you make this decision, you have to stand up for it.
As a man, when you make the decision,
you have to stand up for it, man.
You need to stand up for it. I'm going to talk about the wedding industry as a whole. What are some of the things you've noticed that you think we can do better, so that it benefits all of us, from the top person to the last person? Because if I speak to 10 people, everyone is going to share with me different grievances. From your side, what are some of these things, and what do you think we can do to curb them?
Wedding as a whole.
Yeah.
Still, as a wedding photographer, I would say that, and this is me just fantasizing. I think I've opened up to my brother Brian about this before.
Correct.
Can we just stop everything and restructure everything again? I mean, what is wrong with having a wedding from, say, a white wedding, from 7 o'clock dress up, to 9 o'clock the bride is going to the church. 9 to 10 is church.
Yeah.
Right? We are done with church. Why stop? What's stopping us from saying from there we stop and come and do reception at 8 o'clock p.m. or 7 o'clock p.m.? So we have like 4 or 5 hours for the bride to go and nap a little, even have exclusive for 1 hour. Maybe they want to drive to somewhere and have an exclusive session.
And then come back.
And come back and come and nap a little and start. I think because it's not our structure,
Yeah.
it's difficult now to bring it in. But I believe that there are some places that these things work. Shooting a wedding in Liberia, in Cote d'Ivoire, for instance, we had a wedding in the afternoon.
Yeah.
When it was 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, the wedding was over. We started our reception at 9 o'clock. And we
Party.
finished the reception at 3 o'clock the following day.
Party.
Easy. And these are people who understood what they were about, like they understood they wanted to have fun. Yes. So I think that we should restructure the whole system and see whether it will work for us, because it also eases pressure. The couple doesn't need to rush and try to finish.
Almost every time they are rushing.
Photographer is not screamed on. Hey, you have only 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All those things can really ease a little bit. And I think that is one key thing. One key thing. Let's restructure the whole system. Let's sit down and restructure it again.
I couldn't have, agreed with you more. Let's restructure. And then if we can also push an agenda where people can even marry on Sundays to ease the pressure on Saturdays. Because honestly, I'm sure most of the Saturdays you are getting like 4, 5, 6, and above gigs. And here is the case where maybe your team is around, let's say, maybe 10 or above. And I've seen other photographers like bring people in because they gig plenty. So make her bring boys, make them go here, make them go here. In the end, you went for the money. But quality-wise, one will take a default. And then it will come back to you and then hit us as a whole. So I think I agree with you the more. I want to talk about the things brides should look out for if they are booking Focus and Blurr. Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
Vibe with me all day, man. I mean, so Focus and Blurr seeks to shoot or capture the true essence of every couple.
Yeah.
And when we say true essence of every couple, we really mean it. It's not really about shooting style or filter or anything. For me, I don't think I want a bride to pose a particular way when it is not her, but it's not her style or it's not the way she likes her things. You understand? I look out for all those important, unique, true thing about the couple or the bride, for instance, and then make her flow with it. I've had brides tell me, Focus, PK, this particular pose is no more mean to me. And for me, I understand her because I don't think everybody should be doing that necessarily. Even if it's your signature as a photographer, it might not necessarily be the bride's true self.
That's true.
So I always look out for that. And yes, and that is what you should be looking out for when booking for Focus and Blurr. We will find the true you that will give you who you really are. Do you understand? In a very, because the style is there, we have some vibe. So in a very vibe way.
Vibe.
Delivery is rest assured. Quality is rest assured. We will pray with you, which is so important.
Very important.
I know people see me always praying in the mornings of the weddings because it's so important to me. We would enjoy your day with you. We'll be there when you need us to be there for you, because you see the part of where white weddings are ceremonies is because the photographer is there charging up the spirit of the bride to get ready to, because some of them are very stern, some of them are very, they are in their feelings at that time. So Focus and Blurr comes in, realizes that, and we can even get a sign from coordinator or planner that, yo, PK, shall your bride make slow small, so energize. I'm like, oh man, it's showtime. Don't worry, you get me. And then we put it in, we fire them. So these are the things that you get that is not ordinary with every other photographer. I've had that instance back to back, where people are telling me, oh, the bride is not happy because they say her dress has not come, so she's sad and tense. And I go in, I'm like, my bride, what are you talking about? What are you saying? He's like, Focus, but this has, I'm like, yo, chill. It's showtime right now. What are you talking about? This and this and this. Let me call this person and tell, you know what, get here as soon as possible. Let's vibe. And then we start vibing. It's a thing. It is our nature. This is our style. And we give it anywhere, whether it's Kojo, whether it's Doji. Big shout outs to my team, Kojo
Yo,
Doji.
Kojo Sticks.
Yeah. Kojo Doji.
Cool guy, Doji.
Kobe,
Cool guy.
Richie.
I know Kobe,
I mean, everyone, it's love. And big shout outs to FMB Films, William and his boys, Charlie. Amazing boys. We do photography and videography.
Yeah.
And people don't know that we've been doing that for almost 8 years as well.
Wow.
Yes. And today, let me make it clear. I don't say so much about my videography because I have so many friends in the industry that are videographers. So I kind of not want to make it look like
conflict of interest.
And I've been doing this for like a long time of not having to have conflict of interest.
Yeah.
And some of my best friends in the industry are videographers, as a matter of fact, and they know.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Some of my best friends in the industry are videographers.
Wow.
So I've been doing, and they understand. They understand my voice. They see my voice as family, as in my videographers as family. They respect them. They appreciate them, and we are all like one. Yeah, Charlie, one love.
Years back, it was purely photo videography, and then the only way you get except from event is where photographers release videos or maybe pictures. These days, they are influx of bloggers.
Hey.
They are springing up.
Hey.
And I've seen bloggers clash with photo of videographers in the bride's room, and it wasn't so cool. What's your take on bloggers springing up? And, if I have to jinx it to how you work, what's your take on it? Charlie, bash them. We will feel bash them. It'll be allowed.
So there's a history of wedding blogging. I mean, there's a whole story, and I don't want to jump into it.
Yeah.
I think we've come to love these young men.
Yeah.
And who would not? They are creatives.
Yeah.
They do things in a very interesting way with their phones. And I mean, we can all not do it, like everything. So if we are holding the professional camera and then they are holding their phones and doing it, they get time to cut and everything. I love them to bits. As artists, as creatives, I just have a little issue with professionalism. You see, that's what crosses the difference. That's what cuts the line. Yeah. It's when we've gone through a lot of meetings about an event and don't do this and don't post here and don't do this. And a blogger comes in out of nowhere, never been to them meeting whatsoever, and they just step in. And I have a problem with how they dress up. Some bloggers, but yeah, I mean, I think you need to be in. You're having a wedding, and a wedding has a particular way. There's a formality. At least be in the formality. Be dressed accordingly. Don't walk around wearing school bags and still holding a phone. I mean, holding a camera back in the days, because we were not even seen as important or serious. Left alone now holding a phone. And the funny thing is, when they see the blogger and they see the photographer, they think you're with him. So they even add him. And there's nothing wrong. Like I said, we love you guys as creatives. But be a bit professional. Learn the professional way of blogging. Come and do what you need to do. In the dressing room, if you've been paid to do X, do X. Do X and then stay back, because we are all fighting with a particular timeline. That's true. Photographers and videographers are not having it easy with that timeline. Just for a blog, and now it's not the bloggers.
Lots of them.
Like 2 or 3. The list is 3 lately. In even a bride's room, which is like small square. Room. It's somewhere now. When you go and they'll say you want to take food from somebody's mouth. But I don't know.
We can all benefit. It can be a win-win. Just like you said, professionalism. If you attend vendor meetings, you have to be there maybe 10 minutes before the time. Take 10 minutes off. Do your thing. After that, I come in and then do my thing. I'm sure it would work that way.
It's supposed to work, but they won't let it work. You see, the professionalism is there. I can say, bloggers, do your 10 minutes. And then they'll do 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, fine. Then I pick the bride and do something else. And the blogger wants to come in again.
Because content.
You know,
I know them. I know them. Dave. I don't want to mention them, but I'll mention one.
I mean, but they are.
Yeah.
I must also commend some very professional bloggers or young men that have taken their time to learn some things. I think they are also coming from the videography, professional videography, so they understand what it takes and how we feel.
Great.
So some have become very professional about blogging. And you see their work and it's beautiful. They never... We even go to them to find content. Because I think they are doing it in the best way. The young boys who want to blog, who want to enter that place, shall they find these guys who are already in it and learn a thing or two? Shall they serve small so that they'll teach you? So when you're making your money, you enjoy it because, you are not... Because some of them... See, let me mention Kweku.
Live weddings. Kweku.
Live wedding by Kweku and the other Kweku. He's also Kweku again. There's another
Kweku.
Kweku and the one with the beard, Nana Kwame.
Nana Kwame.
These are very professional boys. They understand the blogging. They are not in your face. They respect themselves. They're on the side. Because they are professional videographers. Yes, so they know what's happening. Yeah. And I think that a lot can learn from this. Yes.
Great.
I don't know if they have an association, but they should.
They should. I'm sure there are lots of fiction between them, so I don't know. Yeah, but I hope they should. In wrapping up, PK, can we talk about some of the steps that one can take to become, I wouldn't say a photo or video, a professional audiographer?
Professional?
Audiographer.
Audiographer?
Yeah.
Audio.
Photo or video. I'm mixing the two. Yeah.
Steps to become a professional photographer.
Yeah.
I think you need a mentor.
Great.
Irrespective of your raw talent, you need to understudy someone. You need to serve. Let somebody push you around a little bit. It doesn't kill.
That's true.
It doesn't kill. Because you need the person who has already climbed.
Yeah.
So he can teach you the ropes. And those people will never let you reinvent the wheels. Yeah. You understand? Some of the mistakes that they've done in the past, they tell you, bro, don't do this. Pass here.
Yeah.
Charlie, this will save you a lot of time. Do this, do that.
That's true.
Pass here. Let me tell you a testimony.
Great.
After serving under one photos for a couple of years, one day, Nana held my hands at Radiance, moved me to Talata, Ambiance by Talata. Then time she was huge in the event industry, and said that this is my boy. He's really good. He's a really good photographer. When you need a photographer, link him. He said it openly, even though he was my boss, running photography for himself.
Wow.
Yes. Spoke to Purple 12. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean. Like when you serve wholeheartedly, like selfless, there is a point. It wasn't like I was seeing it coming or I knew one day he would hold my hands. Yeah. But there was a day my hands was held. Wow. And it changed everything for me. Wow. They saw me. I was seen. You understand? And from that, things changed. So I believe that we need to learn how to serve under a master and progress from there. And you definitely, if your master is a pro, you're on the way of becoming a pro.
Wow. Yeah. Let's talk about gender balance. I love it when I see women with the camera. Would you encourage lots of women to go into photography?